function has a maximum or a minimum value, and that you should be able to tell me without graphing it whether it has a max or a minimum and what that max or minimum is. If you didn't know how to do this, you could actually do all the work and graph it and look at the graph. But the idea is we know it's a parabola every time. How can you tell without graphing it whether it's going to have a maximum value or a minimum value? Taylor? Because that tells you what?
Whether it's going to go down.
Yeah. If it has a maximum value, you agree it's going to open down because it's going to have a high point, and you should be able to tell by looking at the number in front whether it opens up or down. So if it has a minimum value, it's going to open up. What would the max or min value be? Like, how would you find that max or min value? It's definitely the vertex, right? Like, the vertex is that high or low point. What do you think it is? Is it the x value of the vertex or the y value of the vertex? I want the max or min is the highest or the lowest point. So if I'm talking about high and low points, do you agree it makes sense that it would be the y value? And so just so you know, find the value, we're going to say this is the y value of the vertex. Can we find the y value of the vertex without having to graph it? Yeah, and you actually have two options. You could do vertex form with the square, and it's going to be that k value out there, or you could do the negative b over 2a and plug it in. It doesn't matter, whichever one you like. I like negative b over 2a, but you guys like think the square better.
I don't know if I can be.
But if you do negative b over 2a or complete the square, it's going to be, like if it's a fraction, it's going to be a fraction either way, right? No, it's just not on silent, and I misheard me. I just got an email, so I was just trying to. She said it's nice. The best part is she said, look, Sawyer's going to maybe listen to this someday. But she was like, I hate to ask you, but you're his favorite teacher. That's how they sucker you in to give you recommendation at the last minute. They're like, I know it's last minute, but you're his favorite teacher. Right.
They're all following.
I know, it's just,
Even your I love math thing.
look, I've lost two of these already. All right, so let's look at number one. Is this going to have a maximum or a minimum? It opens up, which actually means it has a minimum. And I'm going to do one of these with the negative b over 2a and one with the vertex form just to remind you that you have two options. You can do whichever one you want. Like, I'm not going to force you to do either one. So negative b over 2a, that's going to give me my x coordinate of the vertex. So don't give me that as your answer. But if we did negative b, do you agree that would be negative 12 over 2 times a would be negative 6 over 4. Oh, that's a fraction. Negative 6 over 4 is negative 12 over 4. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing.
Negative 3.
Woo, sorry. I'm crazy.
You didn't sleep last night.
I did. No, not really. I slept terribly.
Sleep does not make you good. You need sleep.
I tell Parker every day that he gets up in the middle of the night for an hour that he's going to kill me because people die if they don't get sleep. And he said, really? I thought you just needed food. And I said, no, you need sleep too. But today I said, I love you, Parker, even though you never sleep at night. And he said, I love you, Mommy, even though you don't ever get to sleep at night. Which I thought he was going to say, even though you're mean, but he didn't say that. Is that my answer? Negative 3 is the minimum? No. To plug it back in, so I'm going to do f of negative 3. You can use your calculator, but just be careful because when you type in negative 3 squared, if you don't put parentheses around it, it's going to give you the wrong answer. So maybe it's not so bad to do a little bit of math, without a calculator sometimes. This would be 9 times 2, which is 18, minus 36, which would be negative 18. So we could say it is the minimum, and the minimum value, the lowest value on that graph would be negative 18, which is really nice that we don't have to graph that. Yeah, I'm going to do that on this one, just to show you. Like, I don't care which way you do it. On this one, this is a negative out front, so it opens down, and if it helps, just draw that to remind you if it opens down, is that a max or a min? It's going to have a maximum, and you could do the negative b over 2a and plug it in, but just to remind you of what we did the first day, vertex form, we could complete the square here, and we could factor that negative 2 out, and we would get x squared minus 4x, leave a space, plus 3, kind of run out of room. I feel like this is more work, but I don't know. Right, I'm doing the HK thing. So if I complete the square, do you agree I'm going to add 4, because half of negative 4 is negative 2, and I square that as positive 4? But make sure you do the outside correctly, because on the quiz, a few people forgot to multiply the number in front. So if I add 4 on the inside, I'm going to subtract 4 on the outside and multiply by negative 2, which really means that becomes a plus 8 out there, right? And really, all you need is that outside number. You don't even have to simplify it all the way, because all I'm asking for is the max value, and the max value will be whatever that k value is. But I'm just going to simplify the whole thing. 3 plus 8 would be plus 11. That is the y value of your vertex, which means I could say that this graph has a maximum, and the maximum value is 11. Same thing you would get if you did the negative b over 2a. No, one more thing. It's half of what you're doing today, because we have one more thing. But this is one idea, right? That's one concept. Okay. Oh. What? The other thing that we're going to have to do, and something I can tell you is on the unit test, is what if they ask you to write an equation and give us some points? So what if it says, determine the quadratic function with the given information? If the vertex is negative 1, negative 2, Bryce, head up. I'm going to get a squirt bottle so I can spray people that sleep. Including TAs. What? Morgan Redlock slept last semester in my ECA lab every day, and he didn't pass his ECA by 7 points. And I said, you know, if you didn't sleep every day, you probably would have gotten those 7 points. So he's under strict instructions that he's not sleeping around, he's spraying him with water. And then if he still sleeps, I'm sending him to ISS. Because I was like, this is ridiculous, you would have passed. But you slept every day, and even when I wake him up, he just keeps sleeping. What's not your problem? Oh. So this is where, if they give you the vertex and they give you a point, you can write an equation. This is where vertex form, you have to do this, because standard form, you can't just plug the vertex into standard form, because it's negative b over 2a. So when they give you something like this, you want to start with vertex form, which is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. We have a quiz, you got to know that. Formulas, yeah.
So hard to remember all.
I remember them all. And
How
all the
many
ones,
years you been doing
and all the
that?
ones for calculus, and all the ones for algebra 2. All of them.
God,
Got them all. I remembered them when I was a student.
I can't.
What is the vertex in this formula? This is h and this is k. They're going to always give you the vertex. You just plug it in. So you can say y equals a times x minus negative 1. I'm going to change that to plus 1. And minus 2. The big thing that we need to know, just like when we do linear equations and they give you a point and a slope, you can plug the slope in and then you have to use that point to find what's missing, the b value. We got to figure out what a is. They don't tell us a, but they give us this point. Where can I plug this point into this formula? Yeah, this is an x and a y on your graph. Just like when you have y equals mx plus b, and they give you a point, you can plug in the point for x and y to solve for b. So you're just going to plug in the x is 0 and the y is negative 1, and then you can solve that equation for a, and then you can write the whole thing. So if y is negative 1 and x is 0, everybody with me on plugging that in? So just watch the math here. Here's the error that people tend to make. Order of operations, I'm going to do this first. 0 plus 1 is 1, and 1 squared is 1, yes?
Yep.
So I'm going to say that it's like saying 1a minus 2, right? That's 1, so it doesn't work out so well. Sometimes people want to say like 1 minus 2 and do that, but this is like times a, so you have to keep that together, right? But it's just
Could you always move the 2 first?
yes.
Or would that mess it up?
No, you can, because you got to move this over, right? Every time. So you just add 2 over. I just did it second, but you could do that right away.
Okay.
Or at the same time that you're simplifying. And you're going to get that 1 equals 1a. I don't have to divide. If that was like a 7, you'd have to divide 7 over, or whatever that is. We're going to do another one that's not 1. You with me on that? Yeah, so a is just 1, which means you don't even have to put anything in front of that. But that's not your answer. Your answer is the whole equation. Just like when you do a linear equation, when you solve for b, you got to go back and tell me what the answer is. The answer is y equals, a is 1, so you can put 1 there if you want, but normally we don't. X minus negative 1 squared minus 2. And if you put the 1 in there, I'm going to put it as a dotted 1. I don't think that would be your answer. F of x and y are the exact same thing, so whichever way you want. I just did y just so people could think about that. F of x is perfect. Let's do one more of these, and then I'm done for the day. You don't have to write all that again. You could just write vertex is 1, negative 5, and y-intercept is negative 3. Write the equation. Vertex. I don't know if we need to write the whole thing again. So instead of giving you a point, they give you the y-intercept as negative 3. Can you write the y-intercept as negative 3 as an ordered pair instead of y-intercept as negative 3? What do you know the x value is if they're giving you the y-intercept? 0. So don't get thrown off by that, right? That's still the point. It's just the point 0, negative 3. So plug in your vertex, plug in your point, and see if you can solve that for a, and I'll give you a head start before I do it to see if you're good to go on this. I usually plug in my vertex and my point at the same time because I know that I can plug them both in, unlike the last one I was kind of doing it a separate time. So I went ahead and plugged in 0 and negative 3 for x and y, and h and k. And so this happens to work out to still just be 1a minus 5. So when you add 5 over, we get that a equals 2. A could be a fraction, so just don't be thrown off if you get that on your homework. But a equals 2 means we're going to go back and we're going to plug in. You don't leave x and y in your equation when you're done, right? Like you leave it as x and y, not numbers. So your final answer here should be y equals, or f of x equals 2 times x minus 1 squared minus 5. So this one is stretched by a factor of 2, a vertex at 1, -5. Questions about that? Every year in pre-calculus we do this, and every year I have people that try to find the slope. Quadratic functions don't have slope, right? You have to use vertex form and solve for a. No slope involved. So on your homework today, those are the 2 things you're doing. You're doing max and mins, and you're writing equations. So no graphing today.
How many problems?
700.
Yeah.
48 through 50, 54 through 57.
6.
7. So not so bad. And you've got about 10 minutes to work on it, so you should be able to get at least, most of it done if you choose to work.